Hi boys and girls, it's Socio back with another video. I just want to give my quick reaction to the Spurs Man United game. It just happened. Unbelievable win. Solskjaer getting that result that everyone's been saying that he's been getting when he was been put under pressure. Would have been nice if that had come last week, but surprised me today. I did a video prior, which you can check out, which was just predicting the 11s that I thought Solskjaer would go with, and then obviously giving my take in terms of what I think we should go with long term as a setup. And laughably, he went for what I chose in this game, which is absolutely the right decision, where he went 5 at the back. And yeah, it brought an identity defensively. There was no gaps anywhere. Now, obviously, there is one sort of major point here, is that Spurs, not the most creative team, also very, very defensive in their formation. If we'd played a more expansive team, or a team that could hurt us, or teams that players that made more players that get in the pockets, and this would be City next week. It's probably going to be the test where we can see how robust this formation is and how much time they've spent on the training ground. Now, to pull out a performance like that after just 1 week to sort it out, you can only praise what you saw there. And I think, first and foremost, for United fans out there, it's about United doing well, United winning, and I think a good portion of us, have no aversion to Solskjaer fixing this and getting it all sorted and get us on the right track. It's just the worry is, even if we do start to progress a little bit up the table and become harder to beat, that we're back to kind of just top 4, and so far he's got a history of each season, even if he does resolve this, that we're always collapsing at certain points in the season, which means that we never mount a title challenge, and I think that's where the sort of major significant what's the right word, certainly where we're hesitant, skepticism in terms of Solskjaer's managerial prowess, and I think this was a result that we desperately needed, because we're playing City next week, like I mentioned, and then Chelsea the week after that, and yeah, absolutely a must win. I think even a draw here wouldn't have been good enough, and so to not only win but to keep a clean sheet after we've been leaking goals, the fact that we barely really conceded many chances. There was the Son chance, which dropped in the box, which he fluffed, and there was also a corner that was taken on the stroke of half time, where Ben Davies kind of tried to do a little sort of stooped header and got in Christian Romero's way, and if he hadn't done that, could have easily been 1-1 and we would have been in a real contest then, and obviously the whole Tottenham Stadium would be positive and kind of willing their team on in the second half, rather than the other way. Once we got the second goal, that crucial second goal, they turned on their manager. In particular, there was a moment in the second half where Lucas Moura got subbed off, and I mentioned, I don't remember if it was the last video, but recently, just about the threat that he possessed, and I think he, in terms of consistency, bar Son's numbers, has been their best player, and for him to be subbed off, you can understand the frustration from Spurs fans, because they were losing as well. It's not like you were drawing and maybe being a little bit negative, but we're still clearly in the game. Here, you were chasing the game, and to take Lucas Moura off, I find just absolutely ridiculous. So there must be something going on off the pitch at the moment. Obviously, we know Espirito Santo's comments about players that are not trying, that have been out of the fold. And I think the same can't be said of the Manchester United setup at the moment. I mean, Van der Beek, Sancho, now in that game, Lingard. There's a bunch of them that we'd be starting week in, week out for quite a lot of clubs around the Premier League, and I think Sancho's obviously a new signing. There'll be a year of adjustment to the league. Solskjaer's banged on the drum several times that he's a long-term signing that they want for the best part of a decade at the club. And I do very much think he will hit the ground running. Eventually he will find his feet. But it's in the system that that we've set up for now, I think very much we were negative against Spurs. We were just making sure that we absolutely got the result, especially because we've only had a week to work on the formation. I sort of suggested that we could probably get away with just having Fred in there, and then having just legs with a bit more, offensive mindedness in a Van der Beek or a Bruno, someone like that, where they can run about and do a bit of dirty work, and if you structure them right, get them to tuck in and form a three in midfield. But then when you get on the counter attack, you've got players that, in Bruno and Van der Beek, that can make runs beyond Ronaldo and Cavani. And it was one of the things that I thought was a bit strange was in this game, and early on I was a little bit worried how it'd play out, was the fact that we lacked a lot of pace. We went with Cavani and Ronaldo, and we were desperate for Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, who were the sort of the free players in this formation, and they usually are the fullbacks. They basically wingers essentially in this formation when you go into the attack. And I thought for the most part Shaw and Wan-Bissaka were great. I thought Wan-Bissaka's end product could have been a bit better, but they were such a threat, and they sort of addressed those fears that I had, because if they didn't perform well, I think it would have been a real struggle in the game, because Ronaldo and Cavani, real lack of pace. Centrally you had Fred and McTominay sitting deeper, so Bruno again sort of the one player from the central midfield providing that thrust, and just not having someone to run beyond was a worry, because I do think in that formation as well, where you have three centre backs, you can get it out to a Lindelof or a Maguire on the left or right hand side, and they have freedom as well to pick out a raking pass. So if you can get someone with a bit of pace, obviously, like I say, play the fullbacks even higher up, then it could become really effective. I must say though, one thing where I was pleasantly surprised by how it was set up was the fact that for the first time in a long time, and I think United fans out there would agree, attest to this, is that we had two players in the box for once. So when Wan-Bissaka or Shaw, or even Bruno when he kind of drifted out towards the edge of the box, there were options to pick out in the box, and intelligent options as well in Ronaldo and Cavani, in terms of the way they make runs across the front. Some, the way Ronaldo peeled off for his, for the goal of the game. They were causing Spurs' defence problems, because obviously they're so smart and they make those late runs. They drag players away for each other. And it could be a really positive combo. And I think, when we think of players like Rashford and Greenwood maybe getting less game time on this formation, I thought Greenwood would be a good combination in this formation. And I thought, because if we played five at the back, that this would free up Ronaldo, and finally we'd have a formation where Ronaldo would be effective. I think I haven't, and so far we're just the one game sample size. We've been proved right. It was not glaring. It was not glaring whatsoever that Ronaldo was not pressing or not filling in gaps. Maybe it was a case of he tried a little bit harder there, but I just think everything made way more sense in terms of how close each player was. And I mentioned in the preview to this game about the team selections that Ronaldo in recent years, north of 30, has played with a second partner up front. He's not played by himself. He's played with a Mandzukic or a Morata. He's not just been sort of stood there up for top by himself. And I think that's part of where the disjoint came from. Is I think that prior to this formation, the way we played up until the Spurs game, Ronaldo and his lack of running and lack of partner there has forced Bruno and forced other players, Greenwood, for instance, it's forced them to push really, really high up and offer that outlet. And I think that's what's caused the disjoint, is that they've ended up separating from the midfield quite a bit because of that. And then if you have a team that can pick the passes around you, because Fred and McTominay have been deployed so deep, there's just obviously loads and loads of spaces in behind there. And I do think that's been addressed with this formation, because you got Cavani there, who's a harder worker than Ronaldo. and you can have a situation where Bruno can drop deeper. He can come back to his midfield, close those gaps, and you have then Cavani, who's then much closer to Ronaldo, who can do the pressing, and you don't have to worry about them getting picked off because everyone else is back in their normal positions, in kind of those banks. So very, very effective, very, very promising. It's going to be promising, I think, for Ronaldo's career if we play that formation. I think it's something we have to play with him going forward. It's brought Cavani back into the fold as well, and I thought he had a decent game. Took his goal really well. And like I say, I think there's scope as well in terms of when Rashford came on and scored. There's scope as well to bring on a Sancho for a Bruno, to bring on a Van de Beek for a Bruno at some games, to bring on Rashford and Greenwood and Lingard late, to do certain roles within that system as well that could be quite effective. And then you can sink deeper and spring them on the counter-attack where you've added more pace to the system. I just think in terms of the versatility of our squad and where we're strong, playing, 5 at the back or 3 at the back with the 2 high wing backs is the way to go. And then just to finish on the goals, just want to give my takes on those. What a goal, Ronaldo's goal. It was a really good driving move by Shaw initially, and then it got popped about. And then Bruno, obviously with the vision, he's always looking for those killer passes, sometimes at his detriment, but plays a lovely weighted ball. He just fades over the defender, and I can't remember, thinking maybe it was Eric Dyer sort of defending 101, and you don't want to sort of get caught underneath the balls of those kind of types of crosses. But then you see from the reverse angle just the way Ronaldo just watches the ball go over his shoulder, very much like kind of reminded me a bit like Van Persie's goal for when he was playing for Arsenal. I think it was against Everton, if I remember rightly, at home. It was over the shoulder. I think it was who was it now? Song in midfield, and he chipped a ball over, lofted over to Van Persie, who did the same thing, except Van Persie's went in off the post, and I thought it was very, very similar to that, and it was just ludicrously good technique and a great goal. And then the second goal, I think it was a bit more of a calamity from Spurs' perspective. There was a lot of moments where they seemed to be slipping all over the place and not getting their foot on things to clear it, and I think Cavani was actually free earlier on in the move, and it could have got out to him a bit quicker, but we rode our luck with it. Ronaldo had the presence of mind to stay calm with the play, come back inside and play the ball through. And then I thought Lloris, sort of with the kind of desperation and desire to win that ball back quickly, maybe not to give Cavani the initiative to go round him. He went down so quickly, which certainly sold his goal. And I think, someone of Cavani's ability in front of goal, I think it just made it clear that he needed to go for the chip. So, delightful little finish. And that really set us on our way. And I think 2-0 we were comfortable. I don't think anything in the game was going to change. But then, icing on the cake, with Rashford coming on his goal record since his injury. Even with his injury, he's been terrific. He's him and Bruno, they're sort of the definitions of moments players, but just the numbers speak for themselves. And I think he could be such a threat coming late on, half an hour, if we're going to set up with this system more with that lack of pace, like I say, and sort of depend on Sean Wan-Bissaka for the threats. Because it worked a treat there. We got them on the counter attack. He gets played through nicely, and it was a delightful finish. And You're very, very happy, and you're feeling confident with Rashford when he's coming in on one-on-ones and he's putting them away with efficiency. Because so I think probably one criticism of him is more that he can be wasteful with chances, but so far since coming back from injury, been very, very, very clinical, and that's only going to hold United in good stead as well going forward. So they're my thoughts on it. Obviously, Ronaldo gets man of the match for the moments, but I do think Shaw and Varane. Varane was terrific, but it's nice, isn't it, knowing that you have a game like that. De Gea clean sheet finally, as he deserves so far this season. Didn't have to do anything, and games like against Leicester, where he's had to pull his finger out and make some saves. We've still ended up losing 4-2 even after his brilliant play, so really, really pleasant change there. So long may it continue, but the big one's next week, and like I say, great. It may just be holding off the inevitable here, but at least United fans can go home happy, and us fans at home enjoy our weekends for once. So thanks very much for listening. Share your thoughts in the comments, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.